Yo. Okay, everybody. So this right here is something brand new. I'm going to be starting up. This is going to be my, I want this to be my new flagship channel. It's going to be one that I set up for doing, I want it to be art and politics. Now that's going to sound crazy, but what I want to do is I want to take the politics, which I love to contemplate over, and to put into reference, I did have my years in the military. I did have my years working with quite a few other individuals who were in the political realm. So I have a kind of unique vested interest in what I would consider to be politics. My art, I'm a longtime artist. I have been a graphic designer and illustrator for pretty much my whole life. I am a sculptor and designer. I am currently working on a project for crushing the virus, and I'm going to be using my I'm going to be hopefully setting up I have a GoFundMe page right now, so anyone who wants to go hit my GoFundMe page up for my virus thing. I want to set up a small group that's going to be able to put out quite a few of essentially the virus crushing artwork that I'm going to start doing. I want to have artwork set up for this specifically, and I want it to be going out to people who are in need. So that right there is set up. I have molds, and I'm just working on a few different paint styles to see which one really works best, is where I'm at right now before I really go out and start selling this. But if you want to, go check out my GoFundMe page. I will have a link to that going down in my underneath right here soon. Not right now, but after the show. Today we're going to be talking about something that has always been a major, I love talking about this, because if you really do want to try to conceive the idea of the future, you're going to have to conceive traveling. How do we move? How do we get ourselves around? And I consider this to be one of our biggest areas to deal with, in the fact that most people are going to conceive the future as, flying cars idea. But I look at that and I say there's a lot of reasons why people can't just jump straight into the flying cars without actually getting into the depth of the political side of why flying cars would and wouldn't be a major issue. Let me get rid of this because I'm a full-on goon here. Boom. So I have myself my page. I'm going to put up, let me see here. This is my program I love to use. I am a huge fan of free open source. This is my GIMP Photoshop program. I am going to, I'm going to put a new 19. That looks good. So I just want a page up. This page is going to be representative of our of just our thoughts. So I want to be able to have a page we can put our thoughts down on. So what I'm going to be doing is I got my Scooby-Doo little pin going on here. What was that thing? Remember that lady back in the day who did that romper room? Oh, and she had that squishy pin that did a whole bunch of goofy stuff. Okay, so this is my squishy pin that does a lot of goofy stuff. Art and politics. Huge area for people to start to bring things into conceptual idea. So if I want to really get people to understand why I feel the way I feel about something, it would be easy if we could draw it. Not white. We need to have it on a color. What am I doing? I've been doing a lot of stuff on my iPad lately, so cool. Let me see something here. I'm goofing up. Do 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 do. That's what I did. Oh, I did Command X. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about transportation today, and the thing that I'm always kind of most perplexed by is people's idea of thinking that we're going to have flying cars. Now, flying cars, I do believe, is a true. Um, it is easily something that we should be thinking about. But like really, what kind of flying car? Everyone wants to think about shape. Everyone wants to think about size. Everyone wants to think about like what's the most important aspect of a flying car. The most important aspect of a flying car to me is the politics that is going down for allowing a person to just willy-nilly fly through the air. I mean, conceivably, yes, it would be nice for us to be able to have that autonomy. And to be able to move so freely would allow for us to have an exponential growth of humanity. It really would. But first things first, we have to understand that why would the governments of the world want us just zooming around? Because, okay, there's the normal average people, and the normal average people are the ones who say, I really think that I could handle that. And for the most part, I think most people can. It's more along the lines of, it's not so much the people that are going to be normal and going to, Walmart and whatnot and that would be nice, and it's easier to get to Disneyland. What they're worried about is, think about all the people who are, let's say, misled and misguided. You have your airspaces. Let me figure out a quick way to do this here. I'm just going to undo the pencil again. You have misguided people, and their goals aren't going to be set. So you have, you always have your main cities, and then you always have the city airspace. Then you have the airspace around the city. But that works the same when it comes to military bases. So this is your military base, and you have a much larger span where they have a much larger span. What am I doing? What am I doing? You have a much larger span around it that they don't want you flying. It's going to be even further out. So here's the deal. You're going to have people who don't care. They're going to be doing some nefarious little things that are going to be, all of a sudden you have a group of 500 people who go online and figure out, let's go to, let's just say it, the big secret bases of the world that are anywhere. And they just start flying in from different directions. How many true military aircraft will it take to bring down a armada of dummies who just really want to be a true pain in the ass to the system, which is totally understandable also to a degree. You have to really concede that it's not really so much that these people are bad. Some of them really want to find out information and they feel they deserve it. That's where governments are going to be like, no. How do we have policies, and how do we apply the actual entity that's going to allow for us to fly is going to be the main thing that I conceive being the issue to deal with first. So I'm looking at it and saying, if that is the case, we need to figure out what we're going to do as people to apply proper policy. So it's beyond policy. It's going to be more like the FAA has got their flight plans laid out, and the radar systems around are there to find them in 3D space and to put it into a probably very complex operating system that is taking a three-dimensional space and following everything around it in very remote areas. So they can't just do it worldwide. It's probably around the major cities that have the airports. So those major cities that have the airports have a high-class setup that is looking in the three-dimensional space. Everywhere They don't have that. So what are we going to do? Flood the airwaves with once again more signal that's going to have to be out there to be monitoring three-dimensional space. There are alternate options that I can conceive, but that's going to be a unique entity that's going to have to be further along, because once you start flying cars, you start a whole sea of unique thinking that has to go with what does that entail? Can I have my RV on flight? And can I just now be a mobile human being that can land anywhere in the world and live there in my home? I want to be in Egypt tomorrow, and then I fly my happy keister over there. And then what's going to happen? Am I going to now be a citizen? Do I pay taxes? Can I fly away? You know, what do I do? Go land myself every night in a nice cozy desert where no one's going to really bug me? Am I paying taxes? Am I a part of the system? Am I taking? What am I doing? What am I doing? So there's going to be a lot of things that people aren't paying attention to with just flying cars. They think that once your car is flying, you're probably going to only have X amount of airspace to go. But I'm looking at it from the point of view of saying that there's going to be power sources that are going to be a little more complicated than people think. Actually, not complicated. Actually, super simplistic, that are going to allow for a much lengthier power life for larger entities, larger mechanical things. So, like a like an RV car. To say my RV car can fly for a week without having to be refueled is a possibility and coming real soon. What's going to be the mode that moves it is going to be a unique thing. It's probably, let's just say you have it like it's like a big quadcopter. You have 4 things and it flies you over. On the top you can have your garden, a couple critters that take care of living, and you know, a food supply that could be growing in the form of algae at the bottom of a tank that we could eat. There's a lot of ways to make life extensively longer if we symbiotically join ourselves with, let's just say, our living space. If we become a symbiotic entity within our living space, saying that we have a living space that has life within it, and that life within it is helping to sustain me, you'll have a long, lengthier stay in let's just say the 3D space of this planet. So you can go for a long amount of time, a length of amount of time to go to another place until you would have to sit down to, let's just say, solar refuel. I don't know. I have a couple different options on that as well when it comes to solar refuel. I would also say steam power, which is not being utilized properly. If using steam properly along with solar, come on, people. There's so many ways to amplify. Along with magnets, forget about it. And people can go, well, I'm an engineer. And engineers are neat people, really neat people, but they're niche people as well. I don't know any engineer that's going to be like, well, I do so. No, you think you do. You do so little within a large area. There are some people who think outwardly and go way beyond, above and beyond. Architects of engineers, more I would say. People who go to a much larger level. Now, those are the people who you can't have, you'd still be in school until you die to get all the degrees required to be that engineer. So once again, most people are probably a degree or 2 into something, and then they just have to then realize, okay, I got to go get knowledge on my own, which a lot of people are saying, along with Mr. Musk, who are saying that really, what's the use of college when you have college at your fingertips? I stopped talking to you right here and then turn my attention into the world of the internet, and I can find whatever I want. But with that said, still, most people are still just using it for entertainment, which is fine. It's not a bad thing for it. But once again, if entertainment's the only place you're trying to take this larger entity, then that's your loss and a couple of our gain. So I'm looking at things right now from the point of view of saying, if we're going to architecturally redesign how people are moving because of cars, anyone can now own a vehicle that can fly easily enough for anyone to fly. Not extending the branches of what we've already got. So 16 would still be the driving age. You don't have to say that they have to be more intellectual or smart to be able to operate this vehicle. I think our life needs to be set up in such a way, probably right now, to say we have to continue with what we know and understand, and have the next level be a part of that. So if there is going to be flying cars, it's got to be set up for a 16-year-old, because that's what we have right now. There'd be too many youthful entities out there without the ability to operate and move, which that's what we need them to do, to go to work and to progress our society. Now with that, I'm going to say transportation, politics. Politics are going to lead to society. Society is going to then go back to politics. And then politics are now going to go back, and you're going to say, okay, so what's society going to want from all this? And they're going to want autonomy. They're going to want to be able to fly. They're going to take their RV, their double-wide RV, and they're going to be flying anywhere they want. So a home is no longer going to be this anchored down point. But there's going to be those in society that do want to have an anchoring. I think what we're going to find is along with flying vehicles, we're going to see that there's going to be a lot more with society to develop. Because once there is a flying vehicle, how big can the vehicle be? I mean, for reals. Even if you said, hey, you have to stay away from any place that people are in order to fly your vehicle, that's still a large swath of the earth that is not lived on at all. Like desert. Like you wouldn't even crash into a tree. You may hurt a lizard if the damn thing fell out of the earth, out of the sky and crashed. You would probably kill more sand than you would kill anything living. If you set paths proper, people could be flying large distances and not be anywhere near any kind of life. So once again, superhighways do exist already. I can look at a map right now. As a matter of fact, one of the shows coming up, if people are enjoying this, I want to bring up, and we'll do an episode where I put that on the map, and we'll start showcasing this. But like I'm saying though, so so I was looking to say where. What, did I lose all of them? Darn it! I had a tab set up for it. I'm gonna set this up better next time. No, I dumped out of it and I lost all my tabs. But so what I'm saying here, did I totally dump out of my YouTube too? Sorry, y'all. I could be talking to nobody right now. I think I'm talking to people. I dumped out of my YouTube like a goon, and I'm just gonna get myself back to where I know where I'm at in my brain when it comes to stream. Let's go. Here, it should put it over here for me. Maybe I won't do it while I'm doing this here. So, once again, if there are people, and I am talking, I don't want to be bugging everybody here while I'm trying to solve this. I am just going to keep talking. Now, my whole thing with the vehicle, and I'm going to say, okay, so it's going to have to be the vehicle versus politics concept, and everyone wants to think of it as like a sports car that can fly. People are going to go there for like 15 seconds before they realize, how far can my sports car fly? Gee, I'd sure love my sports car that I can fly the full distance this way, which let's just say your vehicle can go 600 miles because now it's in the air. So you take that 600 miles, and all of a sudden, that's pretty cool, but you get there and it takes, let's just say, I don't know how long to recharge the fuel cells. So you have that. People really want to land places and say, I want to stay in my vehicle. I just want to stay here. Can I have it for a one-day sleeper? So then it's going to start to turn more into a wagon. And then the wagon's going to suddenly change into, well, you know, hey, with the wagon, I realize if I go this way, then one more day I can go even further. It allows for me to really, and then I would sure like for it to be a motorhome style. And then before you know you have a motorhome, then you realize, oh, I can put more power into this thing. And like I said, before you know it, you're going to realize people quickly are going to say, I want my source to move me. I want to leave my house and say, today, kids, we're going to Egypt. So with that, I'm going to have to say people are going to expect people are going to expect the politics now to jump into play quickly, and there's going to be some serious situational problems to contend with if we don't hit policy first. And when I say that, I mean policy is going to have to extenuate itself for the ability of multiple people. Let's just say a concert suddenly shows up, and no longer is it hard to get on a, hey, we're going to have a concert here in the islands of so and such. Now, that's the other big one, is I do believe there's islands out there they don't want us to know about. And with that, they're not going to like an RV flying over their freaking island that they don't want known about. And that's another area where I think flying vehicles, I think there's places in the world they don't want us to see. I don't care if it's an island and you're looking at your map and you're looking over there and you're like, dude, that island's not on the fracking map. And it's just rich people living on an island. Come on, that's another major reason why they wouldn't want us to be doing that. And they have to freaking pull their heads out of their asses to realize that this right here is going to get ugly if we don't have the ability to actually move ourselves for the sake of learning. So like I said, a mother or father, a family says, hey, we're going to learn more in depth about the native Incan people. They can just pick up their vehicle and fly and land there and stay at their home. That's huge. Stay at their home while they learn. That's where I think most of this will go. People want to believe there's nefarious ideologies, which, yes, there are. There are places they don't want you landing easily. How many places are there that you really just can't land? Yeah, you think you can go anywhere. No, you can't. No, you can't. There's a peak in a canyon that's weird. You can only see it from like drones and helicopters. You might be able to land on there with a helicopter, but who can do that? Everyone would see it. It wouldn't be easy to do without it being a huge, complex pain in the rear. So there are places that are difficult to get to, places on mountains that aren't easy access. Craters, canyons, places where they're just almost impossible for a person or people to get to. Not anymore. If a new power supply, power source, a new mode of transportation does move humanity to the next level, it's going to be one of those things where how hard is it going to be to do this? Let's see here. I'm going to put future vehicles. Let's do coming soon. I want to see what's just coming soon. I went to that one before. So I always go into here and just go straight into images, and let's just see what they got. Okay. Our future lies in just another dumpster fire of vehicles. Just dumpster fire. I mean, people can say, yeah, you like it because that's the only thing that you've seen before in the past to know that what the future lies is this bunch of dumpster fires, so you pick the best dumpster fire. And none of these have, look at the tires, everything about these things are inefficient and destructive at every single level. The breakdown of the rubber falls onto the road. The road has rain that washes off little particulate chunks of rubber that then go into everything. It's not like this world isn't just trying to kick its own ass. Like we are the main aspect. We're the foot that's trying to kick our own world's ass. But there's a lot of things that look kind of neat. My future sees things where essentially, I see a major 3D printer of the future right now. So let's get back into here. I see it to where we're going to have a major 3D printer in the center of our unit here. And what it's going to be, okay. So I'm going to raise it up a little. Okay. What I'm going to say is this. Let's just say a vehicle, and in the center you can have. Oh my God, what am I doing here? Everything in my way. It's hard for you. Okay. So we're going to say whatever power supply we're going to utilize. It's probably not going to be as big as everybody thinks. Let's just say this. Standing person for this is going to be this. So I'm really hacking this hard for y'all because it's just twitchy because I have so many things operating. I have my OBS program, and I also have my GIMP, and I'm also running through YouTube. So my strength is good and solid, but it is a little jumpy. So this is going to look real, I guess you can say, silly for the most part. But let's take our time. Let me see here. Yo, what's up, Dan? Stickman. Yo, high five you. So we have our person, our power supply. Now that's what I'm conceiving it to be. Now here's my idea that I'm seeing for the future right now is the home I'm gonna only call it super 3D printer. So this 3D printer right here is going to be the ultimate 3D printer. Now I'm gonna have to say out the back a bit here, you're gonna have to go from power supply to this interesting hopper over on the back of this thing. That's the reason why I'm connecting all this. And the reason why I'm connecting all this is you'll see. Okay, so you have this back area here, which is going to be just, I'm going to say, a lot of mechanical gibberish, but also where you're going to be having these, I'm going to call them hoppers, where you have a lot of containing units that have your supply of what your 3D printer is going to need to use. Silica, copper, aluminum, steel, gold, silver. Those are the main metals that you would have to have in powdered form probably. And then you would also have your plastics, resins. Let me see, plastics, resins. I actually don't. I was drinking a lot of stuff lately that had a lot of phlegmy stuff, so I'm just phlegmy right now. I apologize, everybody. I don't have any of the. I've been literally quarantined for a month solid. I haven't gone anywhere. I haven't seen anybody but my little boy. So this is just phlegmy. I've been drinking a lot of stuff to keep my immune system high. So let's just say you have your back set up over here, your back here, where you're going to have all your hoppers, your mechanics, all the stuff that's going to be applied to this 3D printer. The 3D printer, you would then say this. You're going to have people out there who can be designing cell phones, electronic gear, and all these unique things that are going to be able to be printed for you specifically. No longer will you need to have excess amounts of things in stores. So once again, right now is the perfect time for this to start being implemented, everybody. We need to start looking at manufacturing in a whole nother light. We need to start thinking about people designing these setups right here. So let's just say we stop thinking of these mom and pop style setups and we start looking at the world as being a kind of conglomeration of all these ideas. You have all these different isms. When I say isms, I mean capitalism, socialism, communism, all the isms out there. And amongst all these isms, I do believe everyone kind of fits amongst all of them in one way, shape, form, or another. We don't all have this large scale the urge to be one thing, which is why I think we have this major pull apart in the political setup. So what I'm thinking is you would have larger places making these style setups for people. So essentially it'd be more like repairing these larger scale entities. And then from there, the people would be their own source of manufacturing. Through this home style manufacturing, which is what it would be, you're going to have people who are going to say, I like to print more of these style things, and I also do sell them online. That's fine. Small scale manufacturing will keep things in a way more set for, once again, a smaller style of doing a larger process. So from my machine here, I'm going to say, I want a cell phone. So you go in, plug into the machine, and then you download the app that is required, and from there the app goes in and says all the things that are going to be needed, and it's going to say you're going to need to have 15 kilograms copper. So I'm going to need my copper, I'm going to need my aluminum, I'm going to need all the metals, and then you're going to need, you have to have your plastic, your PLA, and then it's going to tell you all the things that you're going to need. And then from there, you put them into these specific hoppers, and then you hit the enter button, and you get your cell phone at the end of the whole thing. So if something does go wrong, I do believe that inside this unit, you're going to also have a compacting style setup that will take all these elements after you're done with them, recrush them back down, pull out the things that are needed from it that are going to be the essentials, and then add them back to your hopper. That's kind of where we're at. People can say, well, how do you do that? I mean, come on, people. They're printing organs, for God's sakes. Human organs. I mean, come on. Quit saying, how do they do that, without really looking into it. Yeah, because you can't think of it doesn't mean that there's not a freaking whack job who's crazy and a loony, sits in his home all day long, and makes these things that are sweet. And I say that to them with respect. I am one. As crazy and loony as someone has to be sitting down all the time trying to think of new ways to create something. That's it. Anyone who does it realizes, yeah, I'm a little crazy. Because you have to be. Literally have to be doing this all the time. There is no way that you're going to be making the gears, making the parts, thinking of where they go without just being kind of crazy. You really want to make that thing. You don't need that thing. None of this is necessary. But since we are here, and there are so many of us due to our revolution, our industrial revolutions that we all had worldwide, there's too many of us. So now there's got to be a way for us, and we as people are starting to feel a little bit cranky. Like, come on, dude, how come that person gets the universe, and all I get is a studio apartment with 16 kids? It's not even fair. So I've been thinking about that big time. And with it comes this looks real janky, but I love it. I love the jankiness of it. My pod theory. Now here's my theory right now. My theory is all of us are starting to get to the fact that we're thinking, why am I doing this? It's a global pandemic. It's a pandemic along with an unfortunate real pandemic. And it's, why am I doing this? There are going to be those who truly enjoy a structure. And a lot of isms can fit within there. There are isms that fit. I mean, there's socialism, communism. There's even, capitalism in certain aspects will kind of also work with that. But for the most part, you have your isms, and when it comes down to where they're going with them, it's hard for people to say, I agree with this one, I agree with that one. I personally believe on one of these I want to discuss my new idea on just testing. Why don't we test the president? Why don't we test our congressmen? Why don't we test our people to find out what they really are and what percentage of what they really are? Because none of them are what they say they are. They stick to a side because that side is like a sports manager. They want you to really be a fan of their product instead of saying, I like 6 teams. What do you want me to say? I like this team, this team, this team, this team, and this team. They all have players I like. They have things I like about them. I like going to those cities. I like San Diego. I like LA. I like New York. So I vote for all of them, really. Anytime I see them, I vote for them. But the managers really don't want that. They want you saying, I am dedicated to this. That sucks. Because what happens when they fall out of the race? What's your next runner? Because I kind of want to continue the race. I'm having fun. I don't want to be the person in the background now just rooting for the underdog always, which is a weird thing. It's how it always seems to work. After your team falls out, whoever the runner-up to win is like everyone always votes for the underdog. So it's this weird entity that I kind of been paying attention to in sports, politics, and a lot of other things that people are just really hard-pressed to nail down their focus on me instead of focus on us, because there's more of this than there really is of the smaller group. So when it comes to this that we're talking about right here, the vehicle of the future, I'm talking about where I just traveled off to bring it back to this for a very specific reason. The politics are going to be there to say, what team are you on? And a lot of those teams are going to do things very specifically to keep you on the ground. Metaphorically and very physically in the thing I'm saying right now. If you found out people were a lot more set and prone to being open, you would start to realize we're a lot more open than you think. Something's closed us off from the public's idea of kind of more openness instead of like a tighter down exclusivity of concepts. So what I'm bringing it back to this could be a form of sovereignty. Your vehicle could be your sovereignty, your place that can go wherever. That brings up many issues, once again, politically, that I would have to say we're going to have to get into in probably a later episode, because right now I'm running real long. And with that, I'm going to say the thing is a multinational pass. Come on, Fifth Element, all the way down to Starship Troopers. We've all seen it. I know everyone thinks socialism with that. I say scrap that. But there are portions of it that I do like when it comes down to, if you're going to serve this area, let's just say it's flip whatever. You land in a place and you serve X amount of months of service time to that country will allow for you to have X amount of years worth of multinational pass. So there's ways to do that. There's also money ways. Come in and dump 50K. Or how about this? Your multinational pass can be just a thing that says, I want to be a part of France, Spain, America, Japan. Those are the places I want to be going to at a regular basis, because those are the places I see. Even South America, because I want to check out some of those sweet pyramids. So you say those, and each one of those comes with a amount of time you can be there. So it's like a green card, but a multinational green card, and you pay into it. So when you dump into it, you're dumping into the tax base of those individuals. So be exclusive to where you want to go. If you can't afford it, you may only be able to stay in your country. That's just it. Your multinational pass won't allow you to fly. And here's what I'm thinking is it would have to be set up at the FDA. I mean the FAA, and the FAA would have to have some sort of not access to your vehicle, because that is your sovereign vehicle, but essentially a limiter that your vehicle will understand, because that's the way it goes. If this does happen, you will have sovereignty in your vehicle. Your vehicle can possibly, in the near future, stay up possibly way long, let's just say. Nothing can stay up forever. Impossible. Impossible. But let's just say very long amounts, and I want to emphasize the very. To the point to where you could be up in the air so long that let's just say each one of these vehicles is as well airtight as watertight, so you can just land on any ocean. Boom. Wow. Wow. Land on an ocean, take back off again after your vehicle charges up, powers up. If done properly, you can also use that to have a hydrogen, you probably have a backup hydrogen reactor in there that would probably be, not hydrogen reactor, but hydrogen generating unit that would be essentially processing the hydrogens into energy. So that way you can land on the water. 2 rods in the water, you'd be boiling off hydrogen on one side. And oxygen on the other. Heck, that's a whole nother, that's a cooking source down to pure oxygen up at altitude is always good to have. There's just so many things that you can do if you just were able to land in an ocean, desalinate the water, get a full water tank again, and then take back off. So once again, there's so many ways that this right here would be a source of nomad stability, essentially, is what I'm looking at it being. So it would be, you could land right off the coast of any of our countries. And I look at this as being another source of saying, yeah, that sounds crazy, but if these things are pretty autonomous and aren't really dumping anything, then you aren't going to see what people think you'd see. If people are recycling their own products to create their own products, they're not going to be throwing products out the door. The only thing that would ever happen would I would say maybe a sewage problem, but I would also say if there's a proper system set up in this thing, there's going to be a reclaiming setup, and then you would be dumping it onto the roof of your vehicle, so that way you could actually have fertilization of the whole roof of the vehicle. So if this was a vehicle, I know it looks really goofy right here, but imagine this being a power unit. Imagine there being 4 big, huge fans, or let's just say not 4, let's say there's a whole bunch of them all around the whole perimeter of the vehicle. And let's just say if you're going to, so this is the side view, let's just say it's a circle if you're going to look straight down from the top, and then you have a bunch of fans around it. Let's just be very practical, because I have other ways of doing this, but I don't have my science all the way down in a way for me to be able to talk about what I have going on. But let's just be practical. We have a vehicle that has a fan set up, and these can all be safetied very easily if as far as I'm concerned. And this thing is just a big hovercraft, big drone, so it takes off. And from there, on the top, you can have bushes set up all around this thing. If you have the center right there is your reactor, power source. So you could have trees, like a couple of like 3 or 4 small trees around this area here, because then you can have maybe around the bottom of this reactor is your water, because you're going to need something to cool down your reactor, and it's probably going to come off your water supply. And you know it's going to be external, but it's going to be there still. So you can have your water supply in a tank, and then you can have a really unique setup probably where your roots are going to be able to tap into this as well. Have a little water tank off the side where the roots tap into this. And you're going to have a very strong vehicle's ability to sustain itself lightly. You know, put a little fence up here that kind of goes off on an angle, and you can have your critters up there. Dog, cat, blah, blah, blah. And inside you'd have, you know, rooms. It'd be very small. It'd be very little. But you'd be surprised. I think people, if they had autonomy and the ability to go do what they want to do, they wouldn't be wasting so much. They'd be willing to take their vehicle the distance. If that vehicle was, once again, sound enough to be able to land in the ocean, refuel, take off, you would have a unique citizen base of nomads, essentially. So this is my first one I'm starting with, because I want people to be able to see that I'm taking this seriously. I have done a lot of research. I'm going to set up a lot of my photos better next time. This was kind of a quick idea that I came up with. I'm like, oh man, I see all these political shows jabbering about stuff that I'm like, neat. You know, I get it. You know, they're talking about politics in the world right now, but I'm like, where's the world going? What are we thinking of? I want to know what artists and other people, because other people can't always bring it into the light of art. If you see what I'm doing right here, I mean, there it is. If you could see what I'm doing over here, it's not hard. I'm just doodling right now. This is quick doodles, but this is how you have to start looking to say, how am I going to conceive the new future? I mean, so much so that, let me see here. I'll pull up a picture from my iPad and see if I can show it or not. I don't know if it'll show. But I've done a lot of just whiteboard. I don't know if you can see any of these right here. Yeah, there they are, the bottom ones. Those are all whiteboard drawings. Those are goofy. But those are major cities that I've drawn. Those are vehicles that I've drawn. Those are concept ideas that I want to bring to everybody so we can all sit down and start thinking about these things. And have an artist just sit down and doodle it with you, so that way you can start to say, yeah, well, what happens? Where's the power going to be? And we can start drawing it. When you can start to see that you can do this and it's not the hardest thing in the world, then we as a people can get together and start planning where the locations would be good for these things. Where could we start setting things up? We can be proactive together on this, and these are the things that I really want people to understand, that we should be striving for the new city of the future. But let's not let the a-holes who think they're smart decide everything. And I'm telling that, and people are going to get offended by that, and I can really give a rat's, because really there's a lot of other thinkers out there that are like, hey, just because you were told that from a person that you respect doesn't make that the end all be all. I've had people in my life who have just reshaped my thinking. So that's how I know. It's what goes on is, if you have a charismatic enough person who stands in front of a classroom and starts to rattle off things, they're going to be able to grab the minds of the few. And if their ideas is very set in stone, then they just set another mind in stone. Damn, that person's never going to be able to bend or flex with truth or reality. Because I hate to be the one to tell you this. I have been in the military. I have been around the world. I have seen a lot of ideas, truth, and people's ideas that are just their ideas. So I come home, I listen to people tell me stuff, and I'm like, that's not how it is. Well, yeah, that's what CNN, that's what they say. And I go, that's neat, but I was there. Well, but that's not what, yeah, okay. And that's where they go. Their minds are just set because they look at a source, and that source is so concrete. Even though the next day they're very flexible in the fact that it's not the same thing they're going to be saying the next day, or the next day, or the next day. I think they realize that with a small enough hammer on a big enough stone, if you do something slow enough, you will change the whole concept. I can sit there and over enough time, give me 100 years to chisel on a stone, and slowly, no one's going to know that that stone wasn't always that. They're going to be, that's the way that stone's always been. Yeah, every time I show up here, it kind of looks like that. Maybe a little different, but I mean, people don't, they lose track real quick. And with the way we do things now, social media, cell phones, we want the newest new, right, new and now. And if you ain't newing me up, then I'm newing over there. And that's just the way it is. And it's one of those where it's like, let's do that. Let's do that. What's new? Let's do that. But what's new for our future? What's new for our cities? What's new for our way of thinking? Let's do this, everybody. I'm going to be setting up this channel right here. I'm going to be doing this one here. It's going to be called Art and Politics. I'm going to be setting it up. I want to have people who want to really sit down and think about this. The social structure of what we're going to be doing in the future. Isms are BS, but they're really, really there. And they're really, really ingrained in us. There are people who are very socialistic in the way they like things. They don't mind having a small cubicle. They don't mind living in a small cubicle. They don't mind having a unique life that is very socialistic in nature. Let's create the place for them. The perfect way within society for them to be very socialistic. That would take a strain off of a lot of society and a strain off of them. If they knew I can go apply for the social systems, the social-based system, they will say, okay, cool, there's openings here, 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 and here. In these cities, you're going to work in a cubicle, you're going to live in a cubicle. That person's going to be like, perfect. Do I have to think? Not really. Your daily thoughts that are normal, but not really about society or anything else. We'll take care of all that crap for you. Oh, boom. And I don't think that's wrong. I think it's pretty cool. I think there should be people like that. I think there are people who are like that, shouldn't feel bad about it at all whatsoever. Enjoy being you. But I think there's going to be offshoot people who want to swing on sin, and there should be a place for them. And we shouldn't feel bad about it either. Not one single bit we shouldn't feel bad about it. There should be a place that is very localized, but at the same time for them. Why not? Yeah, it's going to drag other people into it. That's life. It's always been there. Don't deny it. Accept that there is these things, and things just are a part of life. Instead of being so dramatically embraced on almost a religious level of saying, you know, sin versus sanctuary, and it's kind of like it doesn't really work that way that I've seen so far, and I've been around the world. It doesn't work that way. I've never seen it fully work that way. There are the ideologies that people want to, but there's those people who do want to live under that structure, and I think that's a great structure as well, because it really is set for success. What do you say? A lot of very specific isms fit very closely and tightly within that, and once again, those individuals are a necessity. We're all a necessity. We're all a necessity. Where do we fit? Quit trying to put them into one shaker, shake them up and be like, it's so tasty together. And I love it. We're living a unique little construct within our minds that says, I believe I have the right idea for everyone. There's no one right idea for everyone. All these isms exist within our world for a reason. For a reason. We should be looking at them instead of saying, let's knock that one out, and say, where would that one be best? It would be best if they had one here, 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 because usually this type of ism creates a tough, strong type of person, and they can handle this kind of life, this kind of life, this kind of life, this kind of life. As a matter of fact, they kind of like it. Why not place places of that kind of ism into this style of world? Country. Culture. They all exist. And for all those who have to feel guilty about the fact that they are that thing in their own society, which is like, let's just say you live within a very constricting society, and you happen to be a very open individual, they're going to try to bend you to their constrictive way of thinking. That's where I have the problem, because that person doesn't really want to be within that construct at all. It doesn't fit them at all. They're not being utilized to their maximum potential at all. Go work in this constrictive job, and what is that? Why I can't? Why? What's going on? And everyone wants to say, see, they just don't want to be a part of society, or get out of our society. Or it's like, no, it's more like, how can we have this society understand that there needs to be locations for these individuals that are very. There are cities that everyone knows that are set up for groups of people and the way they think. And that's marvelous. And people flock to those cities in groves who fit under that idealism, and it works out great. And the world kind of likes that. If you like to be, I mean, people know that there are states set up for almost religions entirely. In our country, in America, where you could say you go to this state, it's pretty much going to be entirely this kind of people. You go to Utah, everyone knows who's in Utah. Everyone knows who's in Utah. Everyone knows who's in Colorado. Because Colorado ain't, I mean, not Colorado, but Nevada. Go to Nevada, you're not thinking Nevada, you're thinking Las Vegas. And you know what kind of people are in Vegas. Not bad. Good people. Hardworking. But it's a hot area. And it's got gambling. And it's got fun lifestyle all the time. That's a unique way of thinking. Those people, when you think Vegas, you think of what you think of. And you're not wrong one bit. Just like Tom Segura said, think of the people in your mind, and that's exactly what they are. Go to Paris. Yep, this is who they are. Go to Frisco. Yep, these are the people. Yep, that's exactly who I thought. That's just what it is. That's 98% of what it really is. There are those who fit outside of the box of all that, and once again, that's where I'm saying we should have places for people to be able to feel safe. In their way of true thinking, a real safe, not like snowflake safe. I'm talking real safe. Like, I feel good that I'm socialist. I like to be able, I want to sit in a box. I like my computer. I like to know this is my desk. These are my things. I go home to my little area. I don't really have a lot. I have my figurines that I put up over here. I have my comic book collection. I have my movies, and that's it. I don't do much. That's what I do. I like that about myself. I get up and I serve my country in that way. Very socialistic way, which every country has their little things like that. So hey, I'm wrapping this up. I wanted to stop exactly at an hour. So everybody, I want to continue this right here. This conversation shall go on to the next episode. And I think I will be doing episodes at 8 o'clock. And while everybody is in their quarantine, be safe, everybody. Please be safe. Masks, gloves, try to do what you can. Shirt up, take a shirt, tear the sleeve off. Tear a sleeve off, some old shirts. Put them over your face, double, with some TP inside there. Be safe, everybody. We're a strong world, strong country. Help me support this. I'm going to be setting up my COVID, my COVID crusher fist. That's what this is, everybody. I know. Let me see if it's seeable. So it is the fist of humanity. I'm doing different colors of hands because I want everybody to understand this is all of us, everybody. The first one I was working on, which is still the first one right here. I have a couple others ready, but this is just white hand because I'm not gonna lie to you, I was looking at my own damn hand. And the first one out the door is just my hand, so it's just, I apologize for the fact that this is a white boy fist pumping right here, but I am squeezing the snot out of this horrible, filthy virus, everybody. I will have other color hands. I will do some as odd colors, fun colors, like purples, reds, oranges, and stuff like that as well, because I do want this to be inclusive to everybody to see. We are strong as a people. We will crush whatever needs to be crushed, which there's not many things that need to be crushed. I think things need to be hugged and loved more. I think we should be laughing more and loving more. But I also want us to have our own ability to move ourselves to wherever we feel we need to be. Some people aren't in the right place. Mentally, they're Japanese and they're a white guy like me. I spend a lot of time in the Japanese ideology of things. But I also do it in a lot of other cultures too. I mean, I've been to China. I like Chinese people. I know there's a lot of, I'm not a real big fan of the government, but I'm not a big fan of our government. I'm not a big fan of any government, really. I mean, there's a government that could be set up proper. And I think if we all get together on a channel like this, high-fiving everybody right now, I think we can actually take this to another level and show people that we are smart, we are a group, we can conceive this to the next level. Let's go and draw our future. That's what this is. Art. And, what was the other thing I did this thing here? Art and politics. Everybody, art and politics. Politics aren't a bad thing. They really aren't. Let's redraw them. Come join me. Okay, everybody. I really do. I love you all. And to all, a good day, good night, good evening, good whatever you're doing right now. I really do love everybody in the world. Let's do this thing, everybody. Let's create a new future. I want ours to be mobile, airlifting, with the ability for you to be your own manufacturing center. So that way, if you want clothes to machinery, you're going to be able to create it yourself. But you're going to be creating it through smart individuals who are going to be making apps and whatnot. We'll talk about that later. Okay, everybody, I love you all. Bye.